Hello, everyone. Glad you can join me for another devotional lesson in the book of James. My name is Damian Barber, and I am the minister at the Dean Road Church of Christ. Today we're going to be in James chapter 5, verses 1 through 6. Let's go ahead and jump right on in. James chapter 5, starting in verse 1, says this: "Come now, you rich, weep and howl for the miseries that are coming upon you. Your riches have rotted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver have corroded, and their corrosion will be evidence against you, and will eat your flesh like fire. You have laid up treasure in the last days. Behold, the wages of laborers who mowed your fields, which you kept back by fraud, are crying out against you. And the cries of the harvester have reached the ears of the Lord of hosts. You have lived on the earth in luxury and in self-indulgence. You have fatted your hearts in a day of slaughter. You have condemned and murdered the righteous person. He does not resist you." James speaks about how rich oppressors will be judged and how their riches will bear witness against them. Again, James is not condemning those who are rich. However, he is condemning those who get rich on the backs of the poor. Not giving fair wages is a big part of that. The misuse of riches is regularly spoken against in the Bible all throughout. The rich not only are supposed to be fair, but they're also supposed to be generous and to help those who are in need. In the Old Testament, owners of fields were commanded by God to leave a portion of their fields unharvested so that the poor could glean some food from them. One example of a person going above and beyond is Boaz, who instructed his workers to leave extra food behind for Ruth, even going beyond what God had commanded in this situation. You see, this is the kind of attitude that God desires every rich person to have. Those who have wealth ought to look out for and help those who struggle to have their basic needs met. The opposite attitude can be found in the parable of the rich fool over in Luke chapter 12. In Luke chapter 12, starting in verse 13, someone in the crowd said to him, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me." But he said to him, "Man, who has made me a judge or arbitrator over you?" And he said to them, "Take care and be on your guard against all covetousness, for one's life does not consist in the abundance of his possessions." And he told them a parable, saying, "The land of a rich man produced plentifully. And he thought to himself, 'What shall I do? For I have nowhere to store my crops.' He said, 'I will do this. I will tear down my barns, and I'm going to build larger ones. And there I will store all my grain and my goods. And I will say to my soul, Soul, you have ample goods laid up for many years. Relax, eat, drink, and be merry.' But God said to him, 'Fool, this night your soul is required of you, and the things you have prepared, whose will they be? So is the one who lays up treasure for himself and is not rich towards God.'" You see, this man here in the parable that Jesus told is focused on storing up for himself when he ought to have been generous towards others and stored up treasure in heaven rather than here on the earth. Jesus warns us that our life isn't about the abundance of possessions, but rather it's about how we treat others. And we aren't to be covetousness. We're not to seek after more and more wealth, but rather to love others and to take care of others. I'm going to read something that I have here that I found a long time ago. It's called "God Won't Ask." It says, "God won't ask what kind of car you drove. He'll ask how many people you drove who didn't have transportation. God won't ask the square footage of your house. He'll ask how many people you welcomed into your home. God won't ask about the clothes you had in your closet. He'll ask how many you helped to clothe. God won't ask what your highest salary was. He'll ask if you compromised your character to obtain it. God won't ask in what neighborhood you lived. He'll ask how you treated your neighbors. God won't ask how many friends you had. He'll ask how many people to whom you were a friend." You see, God isn't concerned with what we have, but rather how we put it to use to help others and to be there for others. He is more concerned with the fact that we are not so focused on things, but rather on people and showing them the love that we ought to show them. And a big part of that is taking care of others who are in need. God expects great things from those who have been blessed with money and or power. He expects us to use our blessings to be a blessing to others. And even if you are not wealthy, God expects you to use what He has blessed you with to be a blessing to others. So I want to encourage you to use whatever God has blessed you with in this world to not just hoard it up for yourself, but to be a blessing to other people, to show them the love of Christ through being there and to doing good works for them. Love is shown in the good that we do for others. And so I encourage you to show that love as you've been blessed to be able to be a blessing to others. As always, I hope you've gained something from this lesson. I hope it will encourage you to live out your life for God and to be a blessing to others. And as always, I hope you'll continue to join me for more videos, and may God bless you.